Is where we stopped. 1 second, I'll share my screen. So we are in the 12th chapter of the 7th canto. So it's called the perfect society. If you remember in the 11th chapter, what we did, it was Varnas. Yudhishthira Maharaj, he asked Narada Muni to explain our Varnashrama system. And then Narada he started by explanation of different varnas. And now in the 12th chapter we have explanation of ashramas, starting with the brahmachari, and then we will have vanaprastha and sannyas, and then grihastha ashram will be left as the last one. So we covered, I think, 15 shlokas, basically describing duties of the brahmachari, general duties of brahmachari, how the brahmachari should be living in Gurukul, how he should conduct himself, practice complete sense control, serve the Guru, worshipping Guru, Fire, Sun, Vishnu, so many things are there. And these are young students, at age of 5, they join the Gurukula of the Guru and they serve him. So now we have brahmacharis in ISKCON, but these are grown-up people, which is something quite different. Somebody 25 years old and 5 years old, it's a big difference. Adults and small children as brahmacharis. So that's why the rules are also not completely the same. So he's supposed to collect alms in the morning and evening, offer it to the guru, and so on and so forth, to avoid association with the opposite sex, interaction with women, should not allow Guru Mata to massage him if she's young. We heard all this sort of shlokas, 7 mothers, and then the women were compared to fire, men compared to butter pot. That's why the precaution in association is very much necessary. And now we'll continue with further explanation of Brahmacharyashram. So Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devi Saraswati Vyasam Tattva Jayantiraya. Nashtapreshu Bhadashu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Bhagavati Shloki Bhakti Bhagavati Nishtiki, Om Gyanatim Randasya Gyananjanam Shalakaya, Chakshu Unilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we stop at shloka 15. I'll continue reading it. Agnau Gurav Atmanicha Sarabhuteshvadokshajam Bhutai Swadhama Vipashyad Apravishtam Pravishtavat. Translation. One should realize that in the fire, in the spiritual master, in one's self, and in all living entities, in all circumstances and conditions, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu has simultaneously entered and not entered. He is situated externally and internally as the full controller of everything. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. A realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's omnipresence is the perfect realization of the absolute truth to be attained to the study of the Vedic literatures. As stated in Brahma Samhita 535, Adhantarasta Paramhanu Chyantarastam. The Lord is situated within the universe, within the heart of every living entity, and also within the atom. We should understand that whenever the Supreme Personality of Godhead is present, He's present with all his paraphernalia, including his name, form, associates, and servants. The living entity is a part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And thus, one should understand that since the Supreme Lord has entered the atom, the living entities are also there. One must accept the inconceivable quality of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for no one can understand from the material point of view how the Lord is all pervasive and yet is situated in his own abode Goloka Vrindavan. This realization is possible if one strictly follows the regulative principles of ashrama, brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. Srila Madhvacharya says in this regard, apravishtas harvagataha, pravishtas tvanurupavan, evam virupu bhagavan, harireko janardana. The Supreme Personality of Godhead in his original form has not entered everything, apravishta, but in his impersonal form he has entered, pravishta. Thus he has entered and not entered simultaneously. This is also explained in Bhagavad Gita 9.4, wherein the Lord says, Maya tattam idam sarvam jagadavyaptamurtina matsthani sarvabhutani na chahanteshvavastitaha. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I'm not in them. The Lord can defy himself. Thus, there is a variety in unity. Ekatvam bahutvam. And Srila Vishnavacharya Thakur says one should see the Lord along with the jivas who have taken shelter of him in the fire, guru, etc. The Lord enters as the controller. So this is again classical point.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Is it possible to clarify this, the last paragraph? By me in manifested form until Ekautvam?
Oh, this one, okay.
Yes,
I
please.
mean, my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. That means that Lord, in his impersonal feature, through his effulgence, Brahma Jyoti, it's pervading everything. All beings are in me. That means that, the whole universe, everything in the universe is in that effulgence of the Lord, which is all pervading. But I'm not in them. Means that personally, Lord, in his personal form, as we heard explained, in his personal form as Krishna or Vishnu or Narayan, he's not in the living entities, but they are in him. They are in the effulgence of the Lord, which is part of him. So at the same time, this is the whole point of that verse, that Lord is pervading everything and also has entered as Paramatma. He entered the atoms, and atoms are everywhere, and he's residing in our own heart also. He's residing in our own heart as Paramatma, which is partial manifestation of the Lord. So Lord is present everywhere, but at the same time, not in his personal form as Krishna, not as Bhagavan, as Vishnu or Narayan or Krishna. He's not present in living entities, but through his impersonal feature and through his Paramatma super soul feature, he's pervading everything. And in this way, all living beings are in him. When Arjuna saw the cosmic universal form, what did he see? He saw that everything is in the body of the Lord. With Mother Yashoda, look in the Krishna's mouth, she saw the whole universe and everybody, including herself, there in Krishna's mouth. So that means everybody is in Krishna. but he's so big and unlimited that at the same time uh, he's not in them because but again as when he enters the atom he's present everywhere, so it looks like contradictory, but it's not. If you understand that the Lord has three different features, he has his effulgence, Brahmajyoti, he has a Paramatma feature, and he has a Bhagavan personal feature. So through this Brahmajyoti and Paramatma feature, he pervades everything and is present everywhere, while his Bhagavan feature is present on the spiritual planets. And also it's present in the hearts of his pure unalloyed devotees. Then it's said that Paramatma is replaced by Bhagavan, by Krishna, who is residing there, because his pure devotees always think of him and glorify him. So I hope this is this is clear. I mean, this is the whole point of this sloka. So, and as young brahmachari, one should be trained to recognize this presence of the Lord everywhere. Since brahmachari is there, doing the yagya, fire yagya, so they should see that the Lord is also there because he is accepting offerings uh, offered to the fire, ghee is offered to the fire, and oblations. And spiritual master, he is a representative of the Lord. That's why the Lord is also present in the spiritual master. And then in oneself, that means in our own heart as Paramatma, and in all living entities as Paramatma. In all circumstances, the Lord is there. So
Mm.
simultaneously entered and not entered. uh, Means, yeah, he is there in his Brahmajyoti and Paramatma features, but not in his Bhagavan features. That means not entered. So he's situated externally, internally, as the full controller of everything. So the whole universe is moving because there is a controller behind him, and the Lord, in his features, Paramatma, Super Soul, he's controlling everything, and he's avoiding the results of karmic actions of living entities. Yeah, like that. This is philosophical, but this is what it is. This is how it can be understood. This has to be realized actually, and that could be realized only by Lord revealing it to us. Arjuna also didn't understand until he saw the universal form. Then he had a realization. So maybe one day Krishna shows universal form to us, and then we realize, or we see how he's present in all the atoms. But until we have the full realization, we should be aware. Theoretically, we should know that he's present everywhere, and that thus treat with respect other living entities. So we should not commit violence towards other living entities, knowing that the Lord is present in the heart of these living entities. So how can you kill, poor animals, because the Lord is also in their hearts? And also the so-called dead material nature, the prakriti. The Lord is also all pervading there, present in the atoms. So we should not treat it with disrespect, knowing that it's the energy of the Lord. So this is some practical applications of this knowledge that we hear, and hopefully one day we will realize ourselves. Is it okay, Dhanshri Mataji?
Yes, a little bit better. Thank you.
Yeah, it's not easy to realize. All right, let us continue reading. Subhadra Mataji, would you like to read?
Yes, Prabhu. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Please read.
एवं विधो ब्रह्मचारी विना वानप्रस्थो यति गृही Charanvidita Vijnanaha Param Brahmadhigacchati. Translation. By practicing in this way, whether one be in the brahmachari ashram, grihast ashram, vanaprastha ashram, or sannyas ashram, one must always realize the all-pervading presence of the Supreme Lord, for in this way it is possible to understand the absolute truth. Purport. This is the beginning of self-realization. One must first understand how Brahm is present everywhere and how he is acting. This education is called Brahma Jigyasa, and it is the real concern of human life. Without such knowledge, one can't claim to be a human being. Rather, he remains in the animal kingdom, as it is said, "Sa eva gokaraha." Srimad Bhagavatam 10 canto chapter 84, verse 13. Without such knowledge, one is no better than a cow or an ass. Actually, without realization of the Supreme Lord, people are you are not a human being. Your attitude is like the animal. In short, like this.
Yes, correct. So, but we don't want to say this to new people who don't know
No,
anything.
no, we will not say this.
Mm. Prabhupada can say in writing his books, and that's a fact. But we meet somebody and he doesn't know anything, you tell him, "Oh, you are an animal." I have one friend who, when he joined, no, he didn't join actually. He just came first time to the temple. He was, a young boy. He just came to the temple, and devotee who opened the door of the temple looked at him very kind of sternly, strictly, and told him, Srila Prabhupada said, the face without a tilak is like a face of a pig. Something like that. You know, and my friend, he was a shock because he didn't even know what tilak is. And this person is telling him that his face is like a face of a pig, like face of an animal. I mean, Srila Prabhupada might have said that at some point at certain occasions, but it's not that you can, repeat it to anybody and everybody in any circumstances. A little intelligence is required, how to apply this and how to preach to people. Uh, anyway, somehow my friend, it, although many would just, return, and go back and would never come again to the temple, he still decided to stay for the program, and he became a devotee later. Okay. So 17, who is next? Dhanashri Mataji, you like to read?
Yes, Prabhu, I will read. Okay, I'm sorry, the mic. Text 17. Vanaprastasya vakshyami nyamam muni samataha yen astayamunya gakshet rishi yulokam una jasa. Translation. O King, I shall now describe the qualifications for a Vanaprastha, one who has retired from family life. By rigidity following the rules and regulations for the Vanaprastha, one can easily be elevated to the upper planetary system known as Mahaloka.
One more.
Nakrista Pacham Anisyad Akrityam Kapi Akalataha Agnipakwam Atamamva Argapakwam Utayaret. Translation. A person in Vanaprastha life should not eat grains grown by tilling of the fields. He should also not eat grains that have grown without tilling of the field but are not fully ripe, nor should the vanaprastha eat grains cooked in fire. Indeed, he should eat only fruits ripened by the sunshine. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Akalataha means unripe.
So basically, this is a very strict rule. He should not eat grains grown without tilling and grown with the tilling. So basically, no grains for him. So he should be on Ekadashi prasadam forever. Only fruits. You cannot even cook potatoes. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, who can follow this? Till the end of your life, you're now on Ekadashi prasadam. Can you imagine that?
It is very unfair, Prabhu.
Yeah, some people actually have some diets and no gluten, no this, no that. So this is, similar to that, eating quinoa and actually Ekadashi Prasadam, you can make a feast. So many varieties could be there if one is enough creative or to cook. But I don't think this is the purpose in Vanaprastha ashram. One is supposed actually to restrict in this way his eating and to spend less time uh, on cooking and these things. Basically, just collect whatever is available, fruits, and just eat it without much moderation. Basically, fructarian diet that would be. Yeah, there are some devotees I heard who eat only fruits, but this is again difficult diet, especially if you don't have the right type of the body kapha bodies, they can do it, but if the vata or pitta, it's much more difficult. Or maybe you read one more because there is no purpose really.
Vanyascharu purudastyam nirvapet kala koditan labde nave ndiya Uranyam cha parityayet. A vanaprastha should prepare cakes to be offered in sacrifice from fruits and grains grown naturally in the forest. When he obtains some new grains, he should give up his old stock of grains. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he should offer nirvapet, cakes made of wild rice or other items from the forest, vanyai, provided at that time.
So actually, yeah, here it's more clear that he can eat grains, but only widely grown grains in the forest. Yeah, I didn't see much of that wild rice growing in the forest. How much you can collect it and then make some cakes from that wild rice. It must be really, really austere cakes and then offer them in the sacrifice in the fire yaga. Give up all stock of grains. Yeah, he cannot collect too much. Vanaprastha is one who is living in the forest, so he has no big house in the forest and fridge and a storage place. Just a simple hut. Okay, Shantirupa Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu. Agnyarthamev sharanam uttajam vadrikandaram shayeta himavabhyagni varshaka tapashat swayam. Translation. A vanaprastha should prepare a thatched cottage or take shelter of a cave in a mountain only to keep the sacred fire, but he should personally practice enduring snowfall, wind, fire, rain, and the shining of the sun. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, tolerating shot, snow, wind, fire, rain, sunshine, he should take shelter of a cave.
So this means that we should live in such Vanaprastha should live in such area where there are caves. For example, here in West Bengal, I don't know if there are any caves. You need mountains and hills for the caves. Otherwise, there are no caves. Snowfall, yeah, I guess again you need to live high uh, to experience snowfall. I don't know how much of India, most of India doesn't experience snowfall, only maybe northern regions. But in any case, one should tolerate all these elements. And of course, sun is there to tolerate the most that we have to tolerate. One more, please.
Okay. Kesharomanakashmashru malani jatilo dadat kamandalva ajine danda valkalagni parichadan. The Vanaprastha should wear matted locks of hair on his head and let his body hair, nails, and mustache grow. He should not cleanse his body of dirt. He should keep a water pot, deerskin, and rod, wear the bark of a tree as a covering, and use garments colored like fire. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says he is unclean because of not brushing teeth, etc.
So should we follow these sort of instructions? Be unclean and dirty and grow nails and hair, never cut them, and deer skin and bark of a tree as a cover. It will be really funny. So that obviously these sort of injunctions are not meant for this present age. Yeah, so one has to have little intelligence to distinguish what should be followed or not. That's why we need a guru who can tell us, no, this is not actually injunction for you. It's not injunction for this age. Mating locks of hair. Yeah, this is for Treta Yoga or some other yoga.
And garments colored like fire means saffron garments.
Yeah, red, saffron, I mean, garments and at the same time bark of a tree, which is different color, and then deer skin. Yeah, it looks,
Okay.
sounds confusing, but I guess it had some purpose in old Vedic days, and not cleanse yourself from dirt at all. Wow, that's also very austere. But yeah, that's how it is. Okay, maybe one more, please.
Yes. Charedvane dvadashabdan ashtau va chaturo muni dvavekam va yatha buddhi na vipadyeta krichataha. Being very thoughtful, a vanaprastha should remain in the forest for 12 years, 8 years, 4 years, 2 years, or at least 1 year. He should behave in such a way that he will not be disturbed or troubled by too much austerity.
So there are some periods, 12, 8, 4, or at least 1 year that one should undergo this tapasya. So it means it's not eternal. It has a limitation. I have one devotee friend whom Guru told that he should start, preparing for Vanaprastha because he's already a little older, but not yet retired. He has wife and children, boys. They're maybe around teenage age, 12, 15, 14, something like that. And he has a job also. He's a doctor, medical doctor. But somehow, because he listens what his guru tells him, and his guru is very much stressing this Vanaprastha thing, he decided, okay, because it's Kali Yuga, Vanaprastha means living in a forest, but in the Kali Yuga it means Vana is also a temple. So I will go to India and I will live in a temple with the brahmacharis 1 year. Imagine a man 50-something years old, medical doctor. He takes a break from his job for 1 year, and he leaves his wife and boys and his children, and he joins a brahmachari ashram in I think in Bhopal. He joined in Bhopal, and he spent there living in brahmachari ashram, doing everything as young Indian brahmacharis who were living there for 1 year, whatever they were doing. And then after 1 year, he returned back home and resumed his job. So this was his Vanaprastha training. And after that, he wrote some realizations, some essay about his Vanaprastha training. He published it somewhere. I read part of it. It was quite interesting. So it serves some purpose, but you need to adjust. You don't go to the forest. You don't stay for 12 years, but at least 1 year. Temple is as good as the forest or better. And austerity means, you serve the deities. You go for book distribution, preaching, this, that, with other brahmacharis. Although he was not a brahmachari, he was a vanaprastha. So in this way, gradually, one should prepare himself for vanaprastha. It's not that abruptly he leaves everything and nobody sees him or hears him. It's difficult in this present age. I think when Srila Prabhupada, he took vanaprastha, it was also gradual, but he moved away, from his family and he lived separately. But maybe he visited them sometimes or something. But for Prabhupada, there was no going back. He didn't go back. I think his children were already grown up, mostly. Mostly people wait for their daughters and sons to get married. All right. So again, there was no purpose. So maybe one more, Shanti Rupamanaji.
Okay. Yada kalpa swakriyayam vedhibhir anvikshikyam va vidyayam kuryad anashanadikam. When, because of disease or old age, one is unable to perform his prescribed duties for advancement in spiritual consciousness or study of the Vedas, he should practice fasting, not taking any food. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, when he is incapable, akalpa, of practicing jnana and vikshikyam, during the 12-year or lesser austerity, he should fast.
Yeah, when he's incapable. Yeah, I mean, if he cannot do anything because he's invalid, old age, then you basically cannot go and collect things in the forest to eat and prepare some food. And you cannot practice much of the sadhana. Basically, you are waiting, preparing for that by fasting. What else? I mean, you fast. How long? Depends. People can fast sometimes, for 1 month, 2 months without food. Could be even longer. Or just drinking some juices, especially when they're sick, they do this sort of fasting. And sometimes they get cured, especially of cancer patients. You starve the cancer. Those who can do it. But this is injunction for Vanaprastha who is incapable and cannot do anything anymore. Then basically he's preparing for death and fasting. Like Maharaj Parishi, when he went to the forest, he didn't drink, he didn't eat for 7 days. This was his preparation. It's time to stop material activities. All right, so who else is there to read? Shailesh Prabhu, are you able to read or you are just listening?
Just listening, Prabhu, today. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Gunraj Prabhu, are you able to read?
Yes, Prabhu. Atmani agnin samaropya sanyasyaham mamatmatam karaneshu niyaset samyak sangatam tu yata harhatah. Translation. He should properly place the fire element in his own self and in this way give up bodily affinity, by which one thinks the body to be one's self or one's own. One should gradually merge the material body into the five elements earth, water, fire, air, and sky. Purport. The body is an effect of a cause, namely the five material elements earth, water, fire, air, and sky. In other words, one should know perfectly well that the material body is nothing but a combination of the five elements. This knowledge constitutes merging of the material body and the five material elements. Merging into Brahman in perfect knowledge means understanding perfectly that one is not the body but a spiritual soul. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura comments, the verses till the end of the chapter describe the actions before fasting. Yata harkataha means as far as suitable. You should merge the body samgatham into its causes such as the ether. So it is basically by doing fasting, then he leaves his body so that it gets back into the grass elements, five grass elements, earth, water, fire, air, and sky. So by this way, you can understand that this material body came from the five elements and it again goes back to the same.
Yeah, this is some sort of mystical process. We don't really know how it works, merging different elements of the body into their causes. And I don't think this is injunction for devotees. Devotees are just meant, to absorb their mind in Krishna without, trying to to manage elements of the body. But this is general injunction for those who just during the life are normal people doing their dharma, their duties, and now they want to detach themselves and prepare for next destination. So this is kind of process for them. Even who was it, Dhritarashtra, when he went to the forest with the help of Vidura and with Gandhari, he was also practicing mystic yoga. He was not eligible to engage in bhakti, in devotional service, because he made offenses to Pandavas. But he could do mystic yoga, this sort of process, merging different elements in his own self and like that. Yes, so luckily we don't need to do this. We just need to merge our mind into Krishna, Krishna's name, form, and qualities. I think this is much easier, although it's not easy, since the mind is distracted, but still easier than the performing the mystical Ashtanga yoga process. All right, Chatura Mataji, you'd like to read? Can you hear us? You're present in under two names. I hope at least in one you can hear. We cannot hear you yet. Are you there?
She's getting disconnected often.
Getting disconnected and connect.
Yeah.
Looks like she has a problem with the connection. Yeah, maybe if you mute one of your devices, then on other you can talk. Otherwise, there'll be interference. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Looks like we cannot hear you. Your mic is not working. Anyway, what to do, and if at any time you can speak, just let us know, and then you can read. At the moment we cannot hear you, so I'll read now. Kekani bhayau nishvasams teja sushmanam atmavan apsvasrikshlisma puyani kshitaushesham yatodbhavam. Translation: a sober, self-realized person who has full knowledge should merge the various parts of the body in their original sources. The holes in the body are caused by the sky, the process of breathing caused by the air, the heat of the body is caused by fire, and semen, blood, and mucus are caused by water. The hard substances like skin, muscle, and bone are caused by earth. In this way, all the constituents of the body are caused by various elements, and they should be merged again in those elements. Okay, finally, purport by Srila Prabhupada. To be self-realized, one must understand the original sources of the various elements of the body. The body is a combination of skin, bone, muscle, blood, semen, urine, stool, heat, breath, and so on, which all come from earth, water, fire, air, and sky. One must be well conversant with the sources of all the bodily constituents. Then one becomes a self-realized person, or Atmavan, one who knows the self. And Vishnu Chandra Thakur, the sentence is connected with the previous verse. He should merge the wholes of the body into ether. Shesha means the hard substances like bone and flesh. Again, this is the same instruction in the mystic yoga of merging the bodily elements into their original sources. We don't practice this, but it's good to know how it works. Basically, in this way, one gets detached from the body and its element, and he is realizing that he is not the body. He is realizing that he is the spirit soul. And then the next step would be to realize that he's a servant of Krishna and then engage in devotional service. But those who on the path of yoga or the jnana marg or yoga marg, they practice like this. So people who have no enough bhakti unmukhi sukriti for devotional service, but have some gyan unmukhi sukriti, they take up this process. All right, let's go back again. Who was Chatura Mataji? Are you still not able to read? I guess not. We cannot hear you. So, Subhadra Mataji, can you read again,
Yes,
please?
Prabhu. वाच्यम् अग्नो सवक्तव्याम् इन्द्रेस्योपं कराव अपि पदानि गत्यावयसि रत्योपष्टं प्रजापतो वित्योपायुं विसर्गं च यथा स्थानमिदिशेत् दिक्षु श्रोत्रं स नादीनं स्पर्शेनाध्यात्मनि त्वचं रूपाणि चक्षुषा राजन् ज्योतिषि अभिनिविश्य यत् अप्सु प्रचेतसा जीवां गृह्यर्ज्ञानं हितो न्यसेत्. Translation: Thereafter, the object of speech, along with the sense of speech, the tongue, should be bestowed upon fire. Craftsmanship, the two hands should be given to the demigod Indra. The power of movement and the legs should be given to Lord Vishnu. Sensual pleasure along with the genitals should be bestowed upon Prajapati. The rectum with the power of evacuation should be bestowed. It is proper place. Unto Mrityus, oral instrument along with sound vibrations should be given to the deities presiding over the directions. The instruments of touch along with the senses object of touch should be given to Vayu. Form with the power of sight should be bestowed upon the sun. The tongue along with the demigod Varun should be bestowed upon water, and the power of smell along with the two Ashwini Kumars demigods should be bestowed upon the earth. Sona Chakravarti Thakur. Having explained emerging of the gross body, he explains merging of the subtle body, composed of sense objects, senses, and devatas. The senses and the sense objects are merged into the devatas of the senses. Vayasi means into Vishnu. First voice is merged into Agni. The verb should merge is understood for all the senses. Yathasanam means each item will be listened in sequence without missing any of them. Sanadena means the jnani merged the ear along with sound into the deities of the direction. Touch and skin are merged into Vayu, Adhyatmani. Eye and form are merged into the sun, Jyotisi. He merges taste such as sweetness, prachitasa, where there is excellent consciousness, along with the tongue into Varun, Apsu. He merged the nose along with smell into the Ashwini Kumars, Chito, who are the presiding deities of the earth. In this, in this text, the different kinds of demigods are, how you say it? They are telling which demigods is like for the eyes, the nose, and the feelings, etc. So it tells about the small smell is the power, and that is Varun, and so on. All kinds of deities that are demigods and um, devatas are mentioned here. For they are responsible for smell, sound, seeing, and so forth. Like that.
Yes, yes, I think the different demigods, they are in charge for different senses and parts of the body. They are controlling different senses, and then during this merging process, you give back those senses to those demigods. Hands to Indra, legs to Vishnu. Interesting, yeah? The power of movement and legs should be given to Lord Vishnu. So, although Vishnu is the supreme personality of Godhead, still he is performing one of the functions together with the demigods, so he's controlling legs. And then sensual pleasure and genitals, Prajapati's control. Rectum, Mrityu, I think it's Mitra. Okay, it's Mrityu. Let me see, Tvacham. Prajapati, Mrityu, and to demigod known as Mrityu. Interesting demigod. And then the sound and ears. Deities presiding over the directions. It didn't mention the Devata's name. Touch, Vayu, because it's god of wind, demigod of wind. And sight is always connected with the sun. And tongue, Varuna, because it's connected to the water. And Ashwini Kumars. Power, smell should be given to Ashwini Kumaras together with the earth. Okay, quite technical knowledge. I don't think we need to go deep into it.
Mhm.
So, who is next? The Dhanashri Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes. Mano Ataich Chandre Buddhim Bodhyai Kavo Pare Karmai Adyatmana Udre Yadaham Mamata Kriya Satvena Chita Kshetra Gye Unayu Vaikarit Kampare Apsu Ksitim Apo Kyutsiti Adovayo Nabasi Amum Kutashte Takcha Mahaliti Tadavyakte Ksharecha Tat. Translation: the mind, along with all material desires, should be merged in the moon demigod. All the subject matters of intelligence, along with the intelligence itself, should be placed in Lord Brahma. False ego, which is under the influence of the material modes of nature, and which induces one to think, I am this body and everything connected with this body is mine, should be merged along with material activities in Rudra, the predominant deity of the false ego. Material consciousness, along with the goal of thought, should be merged in the individual living being, and the demigods acting under the modes of material nature should be merged along with the perverted living being into the supreme being. The earth should be the earth should be merged in water, water in the brightness of the sun, this brightness into the air into the sky into the false ego, the false ego into the total material energy, the total material energy into unmanifested ingredient, the pradana feature of the material energy, and at last, the ingredient feature of material manifestation into the super soul. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he merges the mind, along with all material desires, into moon god. He merges intelligence, along with the objects, into Lord Brahma. He merges false ego, along with material activities, into Rudra, since actions are preceded by false identity, me and mine. He should merge Chitta along with consciousness, Satvena, into Vasudeva, the presiding deity of Chitta. He should merge the Jiva, Vaikarikam, along with the Davatas, Gunais, into the Brahman Pari. The Davatas, except the Vasudeva, except for Vasudeva, are products of the Gunas. Thus, Vasudeva does not merge into Brahman. How does non-dual Brahma exist? Since earth and other material elements still exist, these will also be merged. Thus, earth merges into water, and water merges into fire. He merges fire, Adaha, into air. He merges air, Amum, into ether. He merges ether into Ahankara. He merges air, I have already said that, into Ankara. Kutstase and merges Ankara into Mahatattva. He merges Mahatattva into Pradana. He merges Pradana into Paramatma.
It's very complicated. You don't need to really
Technical. Yeah.
repeat. Yes, you can see this is a technical process, but interesting thing here that the mind is connected with the moon demigod. So he's controller of the mind. And astrologers, if you go, for example, to astrologer and they see that in your chart the moon is weak, that will indicate that your mind is also disturbed. So then they will prescribe some sort of remedy to strengthen your moon, like giving you a pearl to wear or moonstone or something like that. And this is supposed to stabilize your mind, to make your mind more peaceful. Well, it might work, might not work. But it's a connection of the mind, which is a subtle element of the body, and it's controlled by Chandra, by the moon demigod. And then we have also mentioned Chitta here. Chitta is translated sometimes as the heart, sometimes also as the mind. But basically, Chitta is is the term that is used for complete complete subtle body, complete antakarana, which includes both manas and the mind, includes buddhi, intelligence, and includes ahankara. So that chitta is also translated sometimes as consciousness. And then consciousness should be merged into whom? Into what is written here, Vasudeva?
The individual
Yeah.
living being.
Okay, yeah. So I don't see it. So like this are all very subtle things.
It's written in the middle of the paragraph.
In the
Material,
middle of the paragraph. Okay.
material consciousness along with the goal of thought should
Okay.
in the individual living.
Individual living being. Okay, material consciousness. Okay, material consciousness. But I was thinking about the chitta. Where is the chitta merge? Ahankara is merged into Rudra, Lord Shiva. And chitta is mentioned somewhere. Anyway, doesn't really matter. And then the gross elements, they merge into more subtle. Earth in the water, water in the brightness of the sun, and then brightness in the air, air in the sky. Sky is actually ether. Sky is, let's see what is here. Appa, water, Jyotishi, yes, luminous, Ada, brightness, Vayu, air, Nabhasi in the sky. Okay. Anyway, we don't really need to know how to do these things and to merge one element into another. This is not what we are taught. We perform direct devotional service, and then all this merging will happen automatically, hopefully. All right. Who is the next? There, Gunraj Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. इति अक्षरत्य आत्मानां चिन्मात्रम् अवेशशितं ज्ञात्वा अद्वयो अतविर्मयेत् दग्धयोनिर् इवानलः. Translation. When all the material designations have thus merged into their respective material elements, the living beings, who are all ultimately completely spiritual, being one in quality with the Supreme Being, should cease from material existence, as flames cease when the wood in which they are burning is consumed. When the material body is returned to its various material elements, only the spiritual being remains. This spiritual being is Brahman and is equal in quality with Parabrahman. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura comments, thus ends the commentary on the 12th chapter of the seventh canto of the Bhagavatam for the pleasure of the devotees in accordance with the previous acharyas.
Okay, so the point of all this merging is that only the spirit soul remains, and then one becomes established in his spiritual position as the soul. And then we are going to the next chapter, 13, chapter summary. Guruji Prabhu, would like to continue reading? Or maybe Shanti Rupa Mataji can read?
Yes, Prabhu. This 13th chapter describes the regulative principles for sannyasis and also describes the history of an avadhuta. It concludes with a description of perfection for the student in spiritual advancement. Sri Narada Muni has been describing the symptoms of various ashramas and varnas. Now, in this chapter, he specifically describes the regulative principles to be followed by sannyasis. After retiring from family life, one should accept the status of vanaprastha, in which he must formally accept the body as his means of existence, but gradually forget the bodily necessities of life. After vanaprastha life, having left home, one should travel to different places as a sannyasi. Without bodily comforts and free from dependence on anyone with respect to bodily necessities, one should travel everywhere wearing almost nothing or actually walking naked. Arms without association with ordinary human society, one should beg alms and always be satisfied in himself. One should be a friend to every living entity and be very peaceful in Krishna consciousness. A sannyasi should travel alone in this way, not caring for life or death, waiting for the time when he will leave his material body. He should not indulge in unnecessary books or adopt professions like astrology, nor should he try to become a great orator. He should also give up the path of unnecessary argument and should not depend on anyone under any circumstances. He should not try to allure people into becoming his disciples just so that the number of his disciples may increase. He should give up the habit of reading many books as a means of livelihood, and he should not attempt to increase the number of temples and matas or monasteries. When a sannyasi thus becomes completely independent, peaceful, and equipoised, he can select the destination he desires after death and follow the principles by which to reach that destination. Although fully learned, he should always remain silent, like a dumb person, and travel like a restless child. In this regard, Narada Muni described a meeting between Prahlad and a saintly person who had adopted the mode of life of a python. In this way, he described the symptoms of a Paramahamsa. A person who has attained the Paramahamsa stage knows very well the distinction between matter and spirit. He is not at all interested in gratifying the material senses, for he is always deriving pleasure from devotional service to the Lord. He is not very anxious to protect his material body. Being satisfied with whatever he attains by the grace of the Lord, he is completely independent of material happiness and distress, and thus he is transcendental to all regulative principles. Sometimes he accepts severe austerities, and sometimes he accepts material opulence. His only concern is to satisfy Krishna, and for that purpose he can do anything and everything without reference to the regulative principles. He is never to be equated with materialistic men, nor is he subject to the judgments of such men.
Okay, we can start reading. Shloka?
Should I read?
Yes, please.
Okay. Shri Narada Uvacha Kalpastvevam Parivrajya Deha Matravaşeşitah Gramaika Vidhina Nirapekshascharenmahim. Translation. Sri Narada Muni said, a person able to cultivate spiritual knowledge should renounce all material connections, and merely keeping the body inhabitable, he should travel from one place to another, passing only one night in each village. In this way, without dependence in regard to the needs of the body, the sannyasi should travel all over the world. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, the 13th chapter describes the conduct of the sannyasi through a conversation of Prahlad with a renounced person. If having meditated in this way, a person is incapable of Jnana Yoga, he should then fast. If he meditates in this way but is capable of Jnana Yoga, then he should renounce and wander the earth. This is the meaning. Now 3 verses speak of the conduct of the sannyasi.
So basically, this is a Jnana Yoga sannyasi, one who can perform Jnana Yoga and take sannyas. This is how he conducts. He travels on foot and basically lives whatever he begs from village to village. I don't know how much nowadays this can be applied. Although some devotees, they're doing a Padayatra, all India Padayatra, but they go from temple to temple, and they have bullock carts and books to distribute, and it's still quite adventurous to see all India by walking on foot on Padayatra. But yeah, basically this is the ideal sannyasi from Vedic age. How he travels, so doesn't use any vehicles. What to speak about airplanes or business class, like many sannyasis nowadays. But of course, Yukta Vairagya is the main principle. When Srila Prabhupada crossed the ocean, not by airplane, by boat, many of the smarta brahmanas and sannyasis, they criticize him. Oh, sannyasi, according to scriptures, he's not supposed to cross the ocean. But one should see the reason why he's crossing the ocean. Srila Prabhupada crossed the ocean for the service of Lord Krishna. He didn't cross the ocean to mingle with the mlechas and yavanas and enjoy their culture. He crossed the ocean to give them Krishna consciousness. So for that reason, you can do everything and anything. And obviously, the Varnashrama rules and rules for sannyasa are lower than the rules of spreading Krishna consciousness and pleasing Krishna. So we should know that these rules are not, the the utmost top rules. Basically, they are given here, as you can see, for those performing Jnana Yoga. Vaishnava sannyasis. Well, we can draw the example from Lord Chaitanya. He also was very, very strict as a Vaishnava sannyasi. Although he took sannyas in the Sampradaya of Shankaracharya, still he was Vaishnava. Oh, there's some echo. Must be from Chatura Mataji. Can you, can you speak Chatura Mataji?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. See, it's a double voice. You need to mute in one of those two accounts you have. One mute one and speak from one. Okay. Can you hear us now? Can you speak now?
Yes,
Okay.
just
Okay.
now my internet is not stable.
Okay, still we can hear you. Oh, but it's again echo. Echo is again there.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you. You like to read?
Oh yeah, which text?
7:13:2. We studied 13th chapter, second shloka.
Okay. Okay. Text 2. Vipriya yadi asha vasaha kopina chandanan paran tyatana nika data te anya kinchit anapati. Translation. A person in the renounced order of life may try to avoid even a jest to cover himself. If he wears anything at all, it should be only a loincloth. And when there is no necessity, a sannyasi should not even accept a danda. A sannyasi should avoid carrying anything but a danda and kamandala.
Commentary?
Yeah, no. Yeah, Sri Chakravarti Thakur, he should not accept what is given up, tirtan, things associated with material people, other than the marks of the sannyasi, like the staff. If there is something emergency, he can wear what was giving up normal clothes in order to protect the body. So this verse just to discuss how the sannyasi should dress himself. Maybe he should not wear anything at all, only one piece of loyal clothes, and when necessary, when there is no necessity, a sannyasi also should not say a danda. And also Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur says, and in some emergency, he can wear the normal clothes in order to protect his body.
Yes, so these are some rules from a long Vedic, bygone Vedic age. Nowadays, of course, when we see sannyasis, they are dressed very nicely in the silk cloth.
Yeah.
So obviously they don't follow this, but there is actually no need to follow, to walk around naked like a madman. I mean, then these Naga Babas, you see them on Kumbh Mela, they come and they walk completely naked, and similar sort of Agori, there's some Agori sect. This all tamasic people. So better to be dressed normally. Although there should be some marks of sannyasi, and this danda is one, and that kamandulu. So he doesn't wear a suitcase with the latest gadgets and iPhones. But of course, nowadays it's different. Anyway, you can read one more, Chaturamataji.
Okay. Text 3. Eka eva chare piksu amaramo napasrayaha sarva puta suhichato narayana parayanaha. Translation. The sannyasi, completely satisfied in the self, should live on alms begged from door to door, not being dependent on any person or any place. He should always be a friendly well-wisher to all living beings and be
We lost you, Chaturamataji. We lost you. Cannot hear you. I guess your connection is not good. Okay, I'll continue since you're not audible. Not being dependent on any person or any place, he should always be a friendly well-wisher of all living beings and be a peaceful, unalloyed devotee of Narayan. In this way, he should move from one place to another. So the word used here is Narayana Parayana. It's kind of very well-known expression. Somebody who is completely, absolutely dependent on Narayan, who is a devotee of Narayan, and the sannyasi should be of that standard. Uh, so he is going from door to door, and whatever he gets, that's called Madhukari. This was the process that was practiced even by six Goswamis 500 years ago in Vrindavan. They would just beg little, some chapati or chickpea from some houses in Raja, and this is how they would live. And that tradition was there even after six Goswamis. But nowadays, it's hardly, followed. Maybe there are few people living at the Govardhan or Radhakund who are doing Govardhan Parikrama, and then they beg. But they go to only known houses where people know them, and they already, know that they will get there. Otherwise, if you just go now to random houses anywhere in India, I mean, you don't know what you'll get, where they will get. Most probably, especially in the cities, first you cannot enter, the buildings, gated communities. What to speak about begging from door to door. There's so many beggars on the street. Uh, so this is not something that is very practical nowadays for sannyasi. That's why I don't know any sannyasi doing it nowadays. But the purpose is that he is completely, dependent on Krishna and engage 100% in devotional service. This is the principle, but the external application of it may change due to time, place, and circumstances. Okay, I'll read a little more. Pasyed atmanyado vishvam pare sadasato vyaye atmanam cha param brahma sarvatra sat asanmaye. The sannyasi should always try to see the Supreme pervading everything and see everything, including this universe, resting on the Supreme. And Vishnu Thakur comments that asatha pare means in the Lord devoid of cause and effects. So wherever he goes, he sees Krishna everywhere. And everything is in Krishna. This is how his vision should be. Next, Supti Prabodhaya Sandhav Atmano Gatim Atmadrik Pashyam Bandham Cha Moksham Cha Maya Matram Navastuta. During unconsciousness and consciousness, and between the two, he should try to understand the self and be fully situated in the self. In this way, he should realize that the conditional and liberated stages of life are only illusory and not actually factual. With such a higher understanding, he should see only the absolute truth pervading everything. Srila Prabhupada purport: the unconscious state is nothing but ignorance, darkness, or material existence, and in the conscious state, one is awake. So basically, this unconscious state is a state of deep sleep when we are not aware of everything. And then there is in between state called dreaming state when we are dreaming, and then there is awake or conscious state. So the marginal state between the conscious and unconscious state has no permanent existence. Dreams, they have no permanent existence. Therefore, one who is advanced in understanding the self should understand that unconscious and consciousness are but illusions, for they fundamentally do not exist. Only the supreme absolute truth exists. As confirmed by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita, Maya tatta midam sarvam jagadavyaptamurtina matsthani sarva bhutani na chahanteshvavastitaha. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded, all beings and me, but I'm not in them. Everything exists on the basis of Krishna's impersonal feature. Nothing can exist without Krishna. Therefore, the advanced devotee of Krishna can see the Lord everywhere without illusion. And Vishnu Chakri Thakur, having the goal of Atma at all times, Atmadrik, in the juncture which reveals the state of deep sleep, in which Atma Tattva is covered by tamas, and the waking and the dream states, in which Atma Tattva is distorted, not experiencing tamas or agitation at those times, seeing the truth about Atma, Atmanaghatim, seeing bondage and liberation as only Maya, he should see Supreme Brahman everywhere. It is said in the Yoga scripture, Nidhradav Jagarasyante yo bhava upajate tam bhavam bhavayan nityam mujate netaro yatehi. The sannyasi who meditates constantly upon the state which presides in sleep and after waking is liberated. No one else is liberated. So sannyasi, liberated person, he is in the fourth state of consciousness, which is above the deep sleep, where one is unconscious, which is above the dream state, where one is dreaming his mind's creations, and also beyond the waking state, where one is again illusioned by his mind and the senses for presenting him all sorts of things, even in the waking state. So the fourth state of consciousness is called Turiya. It's a transcendental state of consciousness where one is above these three illusory states of consciousness. So the real sannyasi should come to this level that he's always above all illusion of the three states of consciousness. And then he sees that Krishna is present in everything. All right, we have a couple more minutes. I'll just read one more. Nabinhan dhed dhruvam mrityum adhruvam vasya jivitam kalam param pratiksheta bhutanam prabhavapyayam. Since the material body is sure to be vanquished and the duration of one's life is not fixed, neither death nor life is to be praised. Rather, one should observe the eternal time factor in which the living entity manifests himself and disappears. Purport: the living entities in the material world, not only at the present but also in the past, have been involved in trying to solve the problem of birth and death. Alexei Rovyut, I remember when I was a child, I was reading some stories of people searching for Alexei Rovyut. And I was thinking, wow, that would be something nice. You get this elixir, you drink it, and you eternally, youthfully, never die. So obviously in material world, there is no such elixir. There is only ambrosia of holy name of Krishna, and that's the only elixir that can make us deathless and eternal. So some stress death and point to the illusory existence of everything material, whereas others stress life, trying to preserve it perpetually and enjoy it to the best of their ability. Both of them are fools and rascals. See, Prabhupada is very bold. And those who who stress that and wants to be liberated, and those who wants to internally enjoy this life. They're both fools and rascals. Basically, karmists, sense gratifiers, and impersonalists, they are both fools and rascals. It is advised that one observes the eternal time factor, which is the cause of the material body's appearance and disappearance, and that one observes the living entity's entanglement in this time factor. Srila Bhagavata Thakur therefore sings in his Gitavali, Hanadi karama phale, phadi bhavam ha jhale, thari bhare na dekhi upay. One should observe the activities of eternal time, which is the cause of birth and death. So anadi karma pale. So this karma fall, this body is the result of our fruitive activities for many lifetimes, and it's anadi, without beginning. And this is what is keeping us in this ocean of birth and death. Before the creation of the present millennium, the living entities were under the influence of the time factor, and within the time factor, the material world comes into existence and is again annihilated. Bhutva Bhutva Praliyate. This is from Bhagavad Gita, 8th chapter. Being under the control of the time factor, the living entities appear and die, life after life. This time factor is the impersonal representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who gives the living entities conditioned by material nature a chance to emerge from this nature by surrendering to Him. So the Kala, the time factor, is what makes everything in this world continue. So many living entities at every moment are born. You just imagine how many insects at any second are born and die. And not only insects, also at this present moment, so many babies, human babies around the world are born. Unfortunately, many of them are also killed at the same time. I read some statistics that every day in the world there is 70 million abortions, not spontaneous but induced abortions. But that means, that many more living entities at every moment they are being born, and at the same time, while we are speaking here, some people are dying at this moment. Somewhere in the world, people are dying. So this cycle of birth and then just continues under the influence of this time factor. Asya means of the body. Vishnu Thakur on very short purport. So what is sure, that body will be vanquished sooner or later. So yeah, death or life should not be praised, as the verse says, because it's just something that is happening by the influence of Kala, the time factor. So we are born and we die, and again we are born and we die. So the point of all this taking birth again and dying is to become self-realized, to become Krishna conscious, and not take birth again. This is what all Shastras and Acharyas like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they're urging us to stop this repeated cycle of birth and death by becoming fully Krishna conscious. This is the only way. Okay, we'll stop here. It's 6:30, and I'll see you all next Wednesday. Thank you all very much. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.